the Sunbelt Rental Studios, it's the Bubba the Love Spot Show. Lummy, I think we got Squeezing a Dime, One Way Stein, Primetime 99.
Sure do, with his losing Dallas Cowboy jersey on. Got blown out by the Eagles.
I only wear losers because that's the difference. You know, they actually did a survey at one of these colleges after their team loses. How often do people wear their jersey? Well, after they win, they wear it like 80% of the time. After they lose it, it's like 0.2%. I'm not a fair weather fan. I wear it win or loss, and the Cowboys are always
That's
losers.
an old
So
school. That's an old school one too.
Look at this gimmick, and you know you got the primetime Alex Stein gimmick on the back. You know it's going to be straight from China.
I can't even remember.
You know?
I can't even remember like a real famous number 99 for the Cowboys. I can't even like.
No, this is primetime customization live.
Like I mean,
Bubba.
you know, you can remember 21 was Dion, and 88 was Michael Irvin, and 22 was Emmett, and what was Aikman 8.
Eight. You know it all. But speaking of, don't talk about me. Do not talk about me. Talk about your Deion Sanders footage that was so viral. Somehow you have this 4K footage of Tom Brady and Shadur Sanders, Deion's son, who just signed as a Tom Brady athlete. I don't know if you saw that. He just signed a very lucrative NIL deal.
Yep.
And somehow Bubba has the behind-the-scenes footage of this workout from good angles. I mean, professionally shot. I mean, I maybe even was on an iPhone, but you just knew how to take
straight iPhone when I didn't have the Janet Reno shakes. Yeah.
and then what happened?
Well,
and then you had to
what
take
happened?
it down?
And so Blitz will tell you, man, it was blowing up. Blitz, what was like?
We had like 45,000 views in the past hour.
No way.
Yeah.
It's up to 45,000?
It was
Yep.
Oh my God, that's viral.
It was going to be, probably our hottest thing ever. And Shador calls me at what, Blitz, 8? I think it was 8:08. I think Shador happens to be a commercial break. I wonder if he was watching the show and knew to call, but calls during commercial break. And I'd be like, hello. He's like, hey, Shador. I'm like, hey. He's like, man, Tom wants that stuff down.
What?
Mm-hmm. Self-censorship.
Yep. And I go, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I took it down. Because, I mean, now, I'm contemplating on calling Dion and asking Dion, do you know that I, had to take this down? But then there's a part of me just wants to take it down and not be that, that problem.
Cat crotch.
Yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, maybe you're like, oh, is there some sort of, like, NCAA regulation or something? But I doubt it. I mean, come on.
Hold on. This was when he was in high school. This was his senior year of high school.
It was like the first month of COVID when everything was locked down, and it was just found at a high school.
It was June of 2020, and Dion called me and said, hey, everybody's locked down. Tom can't practice. We can't practice. Tom reached out to Shador and wanted to know if you can make it to Tampa, I do a workout with you. And Bubba, would you like to join along? And
at a high school.
At a high school. So that's what happened.
And they got that mad that you posted it. I hope you didn't delete it. You just put it on private, right?
I put it on private. But here's the deal.
Okay.
But and no matter how you slice it, there's no way anybody looks bad. Like it's Tom Brady that's being like a father-like figure, doing instructional type, cool stuff to a high school senior who happens to be one of his best friend's son. There's nothing that any troll or anybody could slice other than they have very prestigious brands, and I am the bad guy.
Doesn't it also show Dion catching a ball? Did you post that part of it too, or is it just the one?
No, it's Dion catching a 50-yard
teardrop
bomb. I mean, it's great stuff. And so, Alex, at the end of the day, here's what it really comes down to is the fact that some troll or my competition or somebody alerted one of, Tom's sponsors or handlers or something and says, do you really want to be associated with this guy? And now we are where we are.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you think it was an inside job? Somebody said, oh, this is associated with a controversial radio host. Oh, my gosh, that cannot. Well, then you should say F them. Well, I guess you don't want to mess up your relationship with Dion. You got to keep it up and just keep it. I mean, what? I mean, they can't get you for slander or defamation. It's a positive. If anything, that increases his wealth. It doesn't show. He can't show any damage.
But still,
from that video.
the overall bigger picture is not, how many views can Bubba get out of this? It's let's get disassociate ourselves with this guy and this brand. Absolutely. I mean, I get it. I've been fighting all of that. Ever since the Hogan tape came out in 2012, I've been fighting that. I've been fighting that for 10 years, Alex.
Yeah, and and it's really unfair because this is a country where we're the comeback kid. I mean, we love underdogs. I mean, that's what America's about. Second chances.
Not if you're me.
The video's doing great too. We were gonna get like 60,000 views. It was almost there.
Oh yeah, that would have got 100,000 because it had Dion and Tom Brady. I mean, it looked like something out of like a commercial for a video.
So Bubba doesn't want to bother Dion, and I think that they're good enough friends that he could just blow a text to him and says, "Give me a call when you have a second," and just totally say, "Hey man, this puts you over, it puts your son over. I don't understand what the problem is, but out of respect for you, I pulled it down immediately.
Sponge,
but I'm saying out of respect for me, can I put it back up?"
He's gonna say this. Sponge,
what do you think?
Sponge, I'm gonna tell you why, Sponge, because you're a bad guy, and Under Armour and Chevrolet and Aflac, they don't want you, Sponge. They don't want any of that nonsense, Sponge.
But he's never disowned you. Over the years,
he never has, but he doesn't want it also blasted out there that we're buddies. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, Alex. I'm just gonna take it down and sit down and shut up and sit here and just, what do you do if you're me?
I mean, like I said, you don't want to upset Dion because you got a good relationship with him, and there is some sort of professionalism where if his family asks you to take it down, you want to appease them and listen to it because that's part of it too because they asked you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you're in between a rock and a hard spot.
But you know what? I'm between a rock and a hard spot. But guess what? I get screwed again. How much more screwing do I got to take?
Yeah, but Bubba, that's because you're a target. That's because you are. It's a what is it they say? No good deed goes unpunished, and you're the dictionary definition of that. Saying no good deed goes unpunished. Where you do good, you always get punished for it. I don't know why the world works like that. It's because we live in a clown world. But every time you try to do good or you try to stick your neck out for somebody, you somehow end up getting.
Did you see the cop? Did you see the cop video?
Yeah, the cop video was great. But you know what did the best? So I was just watching it, and Lemmy had sent it to me, and I saw that you had that great interview with Kurt Angle where, listen, that is a whole other genre of YouTube that you need to focus on too, where the wrestling shoot interviews, where they break the kayfabe. Because I was just listening to you talk with Hogan, and when you listen to Terry Bollea, not Hulk Hogan, Terry Bollea is pretty chill, cool guy when he breaks kayfabe. Like him talking about his heat with Jesse, he seemed really laid back. I mean, he still has a little gimmick and stuff how he talks, but it's just a different type of Hogan. I'm like, oh, I like this Hogan.
Well, we just found a gym. We just found this little gym. We were supposed to have Jesse call and do the show. Then last minute, Jesse found out that I was Hogan's boy, right? So Jesse no-showed us. Well, then Hogan calls in as Jesse.
Yeah, everybody does a good Jesse too. I don't know how they can do it.
I mean, you're working on that now, aren't you, Mom? Yeah, he calls in as Jesse. So, I don't know, man. It just disappoints because I know how it went.
Yeah, but Bubba, you can't look at you have your dauber down like that. I mean, it's not that big a deal. I mean, you're gonna
hold on,
this is just
Alex. It's not a big deal from you. You got videos that got 200,000, 300,000, 400,000. We don't.
Bubba, I don't cry for me, Argentina. It's not about that, Bubba. You haven't hit Bubba. You were one time the biggest radio guy in the world, arguably, literally. So I'm just saying, it's not about. Everybody has their peaks and valleys.
Yeah, well, I'm in a goddamn valley right now, buddy.
Alex, your videos.
Yes.
Your videos get a lot of views, like the ones you do of the pizza reviews.
Yeah,
and
the Presto Pizza Maker.
Yeah, the ones that
you
the ones
that the one-way styles. Yes, I guess I'm a bad friend.
Hold on.
Everybody knows
Hold
that.
on. But here's the
Everybody
other thing
knows
is you don't understand. I don't know. You haven't been watching the show, but like Dion in 1994, he was on my top 40 station when I played his song for the very first. I debuted.
Must Be the Money.
Yeah, I debuted it. Well, that's where we became friends. Well, I asked him, how did you get the name Primetime? Well, he went through it and told how he got the name Primetime. And I put it on. We made it a YouTube video years ago, okay? Well, Dion's son then, Dion Jr., went and grabbed that footage, then did a whole thing on Instagram. He's got 2.7 million followers on Instagram. And did it and used the footage of him being on my show and discussing why he's called primetime, and they never tagged me, they never gave me any credit or nothing. And so they go and grab some of my footage to use for them, but I can't use, footage that I obtained legally as it's just
Hey,
hard.
Bubba, I just
Bubba,
got
but you know this. Well, we got to make this loud and clear for the people playing at home. Because listen, it was a hard realization when I had to bury my mother, and I don't want sympathy. Life is not fair, Bubba. You are not promised a rose garden. As a matter of fact, life is supposed to be difficult. I know it sucks. It's a hard realization. You have to realize that. And I think the faster that somebody out there is listening and realizing life is not fair.
Man, I've had a tough 10 years. I've had a tough 10 years. I really have.
You're alive and kicking. You got Merch Crick. You got Prime Time. You got Dr. Dan. I mean, you couldn't get anybody better than Lummy's willing to take a 9-inch Whopper for you. I mean, that's dedication.
For Bubba.
Blitz, what were you going to say?
I actually just got a text here from Alex's cat. We need to take on all Alex videos from our YouTube right now.
No, it's copyright strike me, Skybear. Try it. Get your little.
Lummy, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was not saying anything, Bubba.
You started to chime in before Blitz did his high spot. Lummy, what were you going to say?
I was just saying, I do it all for Bubba. Like Alex was saying, that was before the high spot.
You've taken the Whopper privately. You don't do it all for him. You know that.
Well,
Yeah,
it's a little
Self-pleasure.
half and half. Okay, but let's get into this, and we can only say so much on YouTube because I don't want to get canceled. And since you're in a low spot,
Hold on, I don't want to get more. I don't want to get more canceled than I already
you're gonna
am.
get more
Right.
canceled now. This is about to get.
See,
more
here's the
canceled.
deal. You're going to say stuff to get me canceled, but then you keep your YouTube channel because it didn't appear on your channel.
Right.
You said it, but it wasn't on your channel.
Look, he's in our studio.
This is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
This is all I'm gonna say is Kanye West.
Hold on, I get ready to turn him off at a moment's notice.
Yeah, just keep the button. Yeah, you might have to dump me. Kanye West says something about a certain group of religious people, right? That was considered negative. You heard that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that, Bubba?
But I want everybody to know that in the same token, I'm very pro-Jew people, and
I didn't say that. We're not saying that. We're not going to say. Don't say any. Don't say any religion.
Hold on. I'm very pro-Jewish, and my co-host took her first breath in Israel.
Of course, on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, this is nothing to do with Israel. Nothing to do with Israel. God bless Israel, our greatest ally. Thank you so much for everything Israel's done.
Shalom.
Am I the ambassador?
Shalom. Say it, shalom.
Shalom.
But it's just a weird coincidence that J.P. Morgan Chase would cancel his bank account, though. Don't you think that's a little on the nose, Anna? Would you say?
Apparently that happened before he made those comments. Allegedly.
Yeah, it did.
I don't know.
Let's not get in the facts.
Conspiracy.
Let's not let the facts get. We have a good story.
Yeah, let's talk
Let's
about
not-
about pro wrestlers and Tom Brady, my friend.
Okay, well, the last thing I was going to say is that Kanye had all the good heat, and now he's done and dead in the water.
Right.
That just shows you, Bubba. You can be like the hottest thing.
Kanye West will never be dead in the. He'll always be able to come out with some new sneakers and make a couple zillion bucks on it. Period.
Well, he's hurting a little bit right now.
His music speaks for itself, though. My son is 15 and loves his music more than just about anybody's. And
How about
when
that
he
one
speaks his mind is like listening to it. It's like,
Hold on.
there's a whole generation listening to that guy.
How about that one country guy, Blitz and
Morgan
Lummy
Wallen?
were talking about?
Wallace.
Morgan Wallace privately.
Morgan Wallen.
Wallen,
Morgan
sorry.
Wallen
Yeah.
says the N-word or something like that in private, and it blows up, and all of regular radio says we're not going to play any more of this guy's record. He's the worst guy in the world. And so he just starts distributing his own stuff. And now he's like the #1 country artist in the world, and they got him hosting the iHeart Music Awards.
A great song out on every station.
He's on every station now. He's on all the pop stations, the
Yeah.
R&B.
Where do I
He's
get
everywhere.
that? Where do I get that deal at? I need a Bubba Wallens myself.
You do need a Bubba Wallen bump, but listen, people like controversy. What is it? No publicity is bad publicity, Bubba. So
I
you've
don't know
had more
about that.
publicity.
Unless
Hold
on. No, bad publicity is good publicity unless you let your wife sleep with your best friend and it ends up being a big sex tape. And
no,
you're
but
the
there's
guy.
going to be a redemption. Dude, but one day I predict this, that Hogan is either going to cut you a check or it's going to be a metaphorical check. He's going to have to.
it'll
he's
be
gonna have to give you a
metaphorical,
ride.
It'll be metaphorical.
Put him over.
Exactly. Jay knows this real well. It's going to be about a metaphorical, invisible. You know what? It's going to be invisible.
It will be
Well,
invisible
Jay, are
and
his
metaphorical.
attorneys? Are his attorneys that terrible? Hogan's, are they that rude to you, even though they know
They're not rude to me ever.
No, they're
They're
never.
my
rude.
fr-
They've never been rude to Jay. In fact, the one
Yeah.
little scrape up that we had, they called Jay up and said, "Hey, tell Bubba this and that and this," and Jay did, and it's no big deal.
We actually
I just figured
cooperate
they
a lot.
want to be friends.
You know what
yeah.
the problem
Yeah,
is?
yeah.
No, I know these guys for 25 years. The problem is Bubba went in and was honest in his deposition, so he never hurt Hogan. And in his deposition, he was honest about how he thought the tape had been obtained, disseminated. It was before any of the FBI stuff came out, and he literally said in his depo, "I'm going to connect the dots, and here's what I think happened." And he was absolutely correct about all of it. And at the time, people thought he was paranoid. Look at paranoid Bubba, and it was just perception.
Conspiracy Bubba, and it's Bubba being Bubba, and oh my God, Bubba always blames everybody but himself.
I was in the depot
and,
with him for 10 hours.
Blah blah blah. So anyway, that whatever, that'll work itself out.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but let's not even get into Hogan stuff. Did you have the good prenup deal, or what did you
I
kind of?
had the best prenup. I had the best prenup. I had the best
Ironclad.
prenup. I had the best prenup known to man. I have the best prenup of any of our little Brat Pack friends.
You did have the best one. Do you think Howard? What do you think's Howard's prenup?
Oh, I
is?
don't know.
I bet you it's better.
No, I bet it's not.
She pays him.
No.
They paid for her. She owes him money.
Now, would it be, Jay? Would it be a violation of my marriage separation agreement if I disclosed the terms of the prenup?
Probably, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't advise you to do it just because it was, it worked.
Yeah,
It
so
worked.
anyway.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
It was.
so you
held,
got a
it was
good
held,
deal.
It was held up. It held up. First of all, the first signs if you have a good prenup is whether it holds up, whether a
Correct.
judge finds it to be valid and credible. That's the first step of it, and then the second step
Did
is
her attorneys contest it?
Look at the terms.
Oh yeah, I mean
They always do.
But see, hold on. Mine was. I'm not mentioning any figures or anything, but mine was done 5 months before our wedding with. She had representation, and it was videotaped, and she hold on, and she was evaluated by a psychologist or psychiatrist to be of sound.
You went a few layers deep.
No, hold on. She went to a psychologist, was validated to have a sound mind and not be under duress. There was plenty of time to cancel the wedding. That's the couple things Jay will tell you legally. That's the couple things that'll get you.
But as a time too, Bubba, you were making you were rolling in it.
Yeah, I was making
At the time.
$4 million.
If anyone needed a prenup at the time or an antenuptial, it was you.
Yeah. So anyway, Regina Hunter, man, if you ever happen to get married,
We got the goods.
and listen, my prenup originally started as Dan Diaco's initial prenup, and then Gina went in and made it 46 times stiffer than Danny's, and I think Jay came in and made it stiffer than that.
Well,
All of our paperwork is derivative from Dan's original OG.
Let's just say sound legal advice is sound legal advice.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Does Steve have one?
No,
Steve was
I didn't know
23
before.
when he got married.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Is a lot of times they just copy and paste old bills and add new stuff. It's always just copy and pasted legal stuff. So that's not that unusual.
Now, what about
really.
the Alex Jones thing? Can you get me Jones? You think I know
just texted-
Alex is at a low point right now.
I just texted. She said, "Okay, thanks. I'll be in touch." That's Daria, his producer. This is the only problem. Did you see that one video got leaked from a disgruntled employee, and it was not even that bad, but they showed over a 7-day period he drank 7 bottles of vodka.
So?
But they weren't the big. I know, but they weren't the big bottles. They were the pints.
I mean,
that's nothing,
Alex
man.
could say, "Listen, I have a drinking problem amongst other things," and
It's no secret.
I mean, like what do you expect a guy that just got slapped with $1 billion to do?
I'm in a hole.
I mean,
And my point exactly.
And
yeah.
alcohol is legal, and I wasn't driving, and I wasn't, being publicly, erratic and legally, I think, Jay, in the privacy of your own home, you can drink as much as you want until you die, almost.
You sure? I mean, you can.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. It's illegal.
Yeah, but
How did that information get leaked?
If an employee used a security camera, just type in right now. You can type in
What?
Jones.
And that's not the story.
footage.
That should be the story.
Yeah, I
We're
know.
talking
No,
about
no.
Bubba self-censors himself for a video that he took of himself, of the people with their consent, and this video gets leaked, and they're talking about what he drank, not who leaked it.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
exactly. They
yeah.
didn't talk about who leaked mine. They talked about what was on it and, me.
Right. Same thing.
Well, can we ask
and
Alex about the Herschel Walker? What his
Yeah,
take
what do
on
you think
that
about
is?
the Herschel Walker deal? I'm thinking that Herschel told some white lies to begin with, and now has got himself in such a trick bag that, I don't think it's relevant. I really don't think it matters, but I think that he's got himself into a I was not so honest trick bag that he can't get out of.
Well, this is all you got to say. I mean, Herschel Walker, I'm very grateful for him for the trade that the Cowboys traded to the Minnesota Vikings and basically put us over in the 90s.
I mean, it built the team. It built the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, it kept my parents' marriage together for the last few years. If it wasn't for them, they would have been divorced even earlier, and I would have been even more screwed up. So I'm really grateful to Herschel Walker for that. But other than that, Herschel Walker he can't put a sentence together. His teammates hated him. Every team that he ever played with, I think that he was universally disliked by his teammates. The guy was just, I mean, he's about as dumb as a box of rocks. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's like one of Trump's guys, but this just shows you. This is why they say, "Oh, Alex, you're so conservative." They're idiots on both sides. The left wing and the right wing, they're on the same bird and they're both dumb. And if we think Herschel Walker is going to save us, like Herschel Walker can even get on a computer. No, he's better than the other side. He's better than Raphael Warnock.
Though. If he's the 51st vote, he is the guy that saves us.
But I'm just saying,
Jay,
you're right.
Jay, you're talking to a political pundit. I understand that.
Every candidate's flawed, and he wrote about all of this in a book. He was fully transparent about all of it, and it just burns my rear end when somebody who's trying to do well, he may not be the smartest guy. He said that in his book. He had mental illness. And I'm not a huge Herschel Walker fan. I'm a huge second chance fan, like you're saying. Say he did do the abortion. Isn't that what the Democrats celebrate? Abortion?
Yeah, but not lying.
So,
They don't lie about it.
But Jay,
you
nailed it though.
Let's see. Where's the evidence he lied?
He said he didn't do it.
Well,
That's right. He's denied it adamantly.
Right.
Yeah, but there's
that's my problem. Well, that's my problem. Is he could just say, "Hey, look, I did it. I changed my mind.
Right.
10 years ago, I had a different mindset."
What if he didn't?
That's what I don't like.
But what if he didn't?
But there's so much circumstantial
I've
evidence.
just seen Bubba and everyone I know get railed over the rails, over the coals at the most inopportune time, when it's the most opportune time for the narrative that goes along with the national narrative. And I am an underdog guy. I want to always defend the person who can't defend themselves, whether it's Bubba or Herschel Walker or Kanye West or anybody who may say something that's offensive or outlandish. I don't support what Kanye West says. I support his right to say it. And if people don't like what Kanye West has to say, turn him off. People like his music. If people don't want Herschel Walker to be their senator, they should not vote for him. But to personally attack people constantly in this world is not okay.
Yeah,
it's
but Herschel
not okay.
lied. He lied.
It's not okay. How do you know that?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
This is how I know. But this is how I know, though, Jay. This is it, because his son Christian Walker has become like a right-wing influencer, and he's an open,
do you know what
homosexual.
horrible things people have said in family? And people in this studio overtly, publicly, former employees, family members of people who sit in this studio that were not true?
Yeah, Dan
that's
talks
what I'm
about
saying.
you all the time, Jay.
That's right.
And I think you almost do disparage the person you love more than like a stranger. So you'd almost be more inclined to say something, about your dad, if you're really mad at him. But my point being is, I don't think Herschel Walker was that great of a father either. I mean, Christian Walker, I think, is probably saw blood in the water that his dad wasn't doing well, and this is a time for him to exploit
He's never
his
claimed
dad
to
being
be.
a bad dad.
In his book, he said he was a flawed man.
I hope he wins. I'm just saying, my point being is, like, if we think Herschel Walker is going to save the Republic, we are screwed.
Hey,
and I know you're not saying that.
Did you see the Roger Stone video where he said that did you see that or no?
Yeah. He called his daughter. Yeah.
What's your opinion on that? And I know Roger. Should I text him, see if I can get him on the air tomorrow?
Well, I was just on Roger's podcast last week. He's a nice guy, like Roger. Listen, him trying to get that pardon. Trump, this is my problem. Is like, he pardoned all these rappers. He pardoned Jared Kushner's dad. And you know what Jared Kushner's dad was arrested for? Jared Kushner's aunt, so follow me, his dad was arrested for honeypotting his sister's husband. He filmed his sister's husband with a prostitute and used that in the divorce proceedings for his sister's
all this
divorce.
sex tape going on. All these sex tapes going on.
Yes, and they filmed it. Yes, and
can I get a presidential pardon?
Didn't Chris
But
Christie,
listen,
didn't Chris Christie
put him in
prosecute
jail?
him?
Yeah, he's
was
the one that put him in
prosecutor.
jail. Yes, he was a prosecutor. He put him in jail, and he only served like a little time and got out. But Trump expunged that from years ago, even though it was a done deal. But there's guys like Julian Assange who basically did the WikiLeaks that gave him the 2016 election with all of Hillary's crap. There's all these other people, that he could have pardoned, nonviolent drug offenders. There's just, and he didn't pardon them. So I really don't like the way. I don't really like Trump how he handled those pardons. But the fact that he'd pardoned Jared Kushner's dad. It's kind of scummy to do that. Not even to film it, but to honeypot. Like that's a method that Jeffrey Epstein, that all of them use. They use attractive women, oftentimes underage, in order to get leverage on, high profile people.
Brian E20, that's Brian Everhart for, he said, thank you, Diaco Law and Rudy. Lummy on the Cash App, and then Fish on the J on the Venmo. All this taping and sexing and all these people aren't getting in trouble, and I'm, forever going to be typecast for it. I should write a book that says the only man on the wrong side of the sex tape.
Well, have you had a book? Have you put out a book since this whole thing happened yet?
No, we
can barely read, Alex.
I know, but fucking Jay can read. Jay can write a book. Jay can hire some legal.
Like Jay has time to do all that.
No, but Jay can hire. You can find some intern, some person that can.
I can't find an intern. I can't find an intern to download all my mini DVDs, let alone write a book, please.
Oh my gosh! I got a guy, John Gross.
Did you see the Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson thing?
What kind of work is that? Like he's gonna act like he wants to punch him, yet he saw a little a noose tie, a garage pull, and that was the biggest thing ever. So that's what it. So when I race, when I come in town, I will be there on the 28th, 10 days from now. This is a 10-day countdown. Dude, are we gonna have a noose pull down at the track?
Listen,
we have that.
In Ocala, man, the nooses aren't such a big deal in Ocala,
right.
Florida.
There will be a bunch of noose garage pull downs. The problem is there's no garages.
Yeah, we don't have any garages.
But they're just littered with pull downs.
Yeah, we just there's just a bunch of nooses. There just are no garages.
In what area of Florida is this? Is this in a swamp? Is this above sea level? The track is above sea level?
Go to Florida and throw a dart, and if it hits the absolute middle of the state, that's Ocala.
It's between between Tampa and Gainesville, closer to Gainesville.
It's like about an hour and 20 minutes north of Tampa.
A lot of horse farms.
Well, and it's, by the way, it's the horse capital of the world. Now, some people say that Kentucky is, but realistically, people from Ocala say that Ocala, Florida, actually is the horse capital of the world.
No, I follow some horse girls on Instagram, and they're all in Ocala. I always thought that was, I do. I'm
sure you
horse
do.
Girls are always the biggest sluts too, Bubba. If you know a horse girl, they're the best. It's because they're so desensitized from riding the horse. They really need a good pounding.
It's also because they can squeeze their legs. They have to squeeze the torso of the horse so they can squeeze your little wiener right to zero. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot, and trust me, it's little, and they're squeezing hard, and it's a hell of a ride when they hop on me.
Travolta lives like an hour or about a mile or two away from the track.
Like John Travolta lives like 3 miles from my track.
Yeah, his house at the airport and all that.
Yeah, he's got.
Well, we need to join Scientology, Bubba. That's how you get this back. This is how we get you back in Hollywood. We get you on. You join. You do the little Scientology gimmick. Then you and David Miscavige and Tom Cruise. You're in the next Mission Impossible movie. You're A-list.
Hey, Tom Cruise is going to do a spacewalk for his next movie.
Tom Cruise does all of his own stunts, and he says they're going to send him to space to do a space stunt. This is when we finally lose Tom Cruise.
It's so stupid.
I mean,
he's going to go to the International Space Station.
Like, Tom, I know you're hard-headed on doing your own stunts, but as your agent, I got to step in. When we're going to space, we just, come on, buddy.
And it's so fake, like he's gonna go up there for some fake movie anyway. It's just pointless. He does these crazy stunts where he risks his life for a movie that's fake anyway. I don't understand why he does that.
Have you ever Googled how much he's worth? I mean, fake me up if you want, but I think he's worth what, $600-700 million, something like that.
Oh, easy. And just his cachet is where he's a billionaire franchise. Tom Cruise. I mean, he just had the biggest hit movie of Top Gun. I mean, I don't think there's no bigger name than that.
How's my Zycheks Lounge Glenn Beck doing?
Yeah, Glenn's doing well. We got a big November 8th election deal, and he's using me as a correspondent, so I'm very grateful. Where are you going to be out of DC? Well, I'm going to be live at an event here in Dallas, and then I'm doing some pre-recorded bits that he's going to play.
Now, are you ever going to work there full time? Are you ever going to work at the Blaze full time?
I'm full. I'm full as a freaking blimp eating shrimp. What are you talking about? I got a full helium deal. My show doesn't start. Well, my show probably is not going to start till probably the beginning of the year because we go dark for 2 weeks in December. So we might do a couple shows, but I don't know if I'll be doing my 4-day-a-week schedule.
Now, have you made this announcement that you got a show there yet or no?
Kind of, yeah. I've talked about it, there's the soft announcement. But once we get November 1st, I think that'll be the launch with all the graphics and all that.
Can I tell everybody that you have starting at the first of the year a 4-day-a-week full-time show on the Blaze Network?
That's a 1,000% true. I'm a pimp on a blimp.
What time is it going to
be? Thank you. It'll be 7 p.m. and it'll be live stream. It'll be an hour to an hour and a half show, and we're gonna have all kinds of guests. Obviously, Bubba, we're gonna
I've been on Glenn's show before,
and we have a guest budget. I mean, I know you're so busy. I don't know how we fly you out during the week.
I'm free.
Let me tell you what. He's a game day or two. If he knows the format, that guy can produce like you've never seen.
I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you when I had Glenn on my show.
Well, recently or a long time ago? You need to have Glenn on again.
Yeah, that was what.
Why don't you reach out to Glenn and?
I did. Glenn knows the how I'm typecast. He knows that I'm very bad. He knows.
No, but Glenn just had Gavin McInnes. I think if I can get you in the building, Glenn would have you on his show 1,000%.
I'm gonna send.
Bubba's never been fake arrested by the FBI.
I'm gonna send you when Glenn was on my show.
I'm sending it to him now.
And then you just make that your determination. Then, okay, buddy.
No, listen, Bubba, he respects a talented broadcaster. I mean, even listening to, Howard Stern, the way he describes you, people can't, they can't hate on that. Being able to get on the mic and talk and be a professional broadcaster. So I think you were talking about your first encounter with Howard and how you guys were just like radio girls and you guys were just talking about radio. There is something about that, the fraternal organization of radio guys. So I know he respects you regardless.
If you ever want to get Glenn's attention, just say the name Randy Michaels.
Oh, he's a stud.
That's all I got to say.
The wrestler Randy Michaels?
No,
what is
that? No. If you ever want to get on, just say, hey, listen, there's just no more Randy Michaels left in radio. That's what. If you say, hey, Glenn, what's wrong with radio is there's no more Randy Michaels, and he will just he will be like, what? Like, because Randy Michaels is the guy that gave him his very big first syndicated shot.
He created the FM talk radio format and really created the shock jock genre of Bubba and came in and testified in his defamation trial. This guy made so many people.
Glenn Beck was just Glenn Beck was a local guy until after 9/11, and then Randy's like, man, we can take this guy and globally syndicate him just on how good he is and how he's, how his opinion on and his knowledge on the 9/11 attacks, and that's what they did. Randy Michaels, don't forget that. That's a very important one.
No, I got his thing up right now. I got to bring up. That's who I'll name drop.
Randy Michaels.
Randy freaking Michaels.
Yes. Better known as Ben Hummel.
Well, let me just tell you something though. The radio peak you have not hit yet, Bubba. I know you're there and you're looking at Jay and you got to look at Lummy's ass. We haven't hit the pinnacle.
Shows you how much he doesn't know about radio. I'm blacklisted and done in radio. I might have a chance somewhere else, but not radio, my friend.
Well, you're lucky that I'm a young man. I'm not. I'm Bubba. I'm going to carry you with me to the peak, to the tippy top. I'm taking you with me. Two-way Stein.
Two-way Stein.
I'll text you later today so I can get your travel. All right, buddy?
All right, I'll talk to you later. See you guys. Love you guys. Talk to y'all next week.
Squeezing a dime, one-way Stein. Prime time, 99. Love that guy.